I want to do potentially some custom ceilings. So if you wanted to do some ceilings that were unique, let's talk about that and the possibilities for that. So I'm going to just close this file up, and I'm opening, I'll go ahead and I have open the sandbox Revit, and I gave this to you. It's on Canvas. If I go to my 3D view, it's just a tiny little project that has some material cubes and a couple of scale figures, and it does have ceilings in it, so if you come in you can turn this ceiling on, and I use this to sort of play around with stuff. So I'll open this up and fiddle around with either materials or fixtures or things like that and test them before I put them into a big complex model. So I would recommend that you develop something like this or use this one. So let's talk about different types of ceiling options. So if I go to my ceiling plan level 1, I'm just going to come out here and create a ceiling just off to the side, and I'll do a sketch ceiling, and I'll do a rectangle over here, right? And it's going to set it at 8 foot from level 1. And if I close that guy and go WTZA, let's go ahead and turn the ceilings on in here. Alright, so you can see, and we'll close this, get rid of that. You can see that ceiling. It's the composite 4x2 ceiling. If I edit the boundary, you can actually give it a slope arrow. So for example, if I go to slope arrow and I draw a line from there to there in the edit, you can see that I can set the level at tail and the height offset at tail and the level at head and the height offset. So it's going to slope it 1 foot, right? So if I hit check, you'll see that if I go into the view, maybe I should do it more dramatically. Let's go ahead and do it at a higher. So if I edit that boundary and pick that arrow again, let's do it at 4 feet. Okay, and I hit check. Right, you see it's sloping it. So if you want to slope something a certain distance, you can certainly do that with the slope arrow. If you want to do something more complex, like let's say a ribbed vault, or somebody was asking me about that, or something that's quite a bit more complex, you're going to have to do either a model in place, right, and do that there, a component model in place. So the other option that you have, if you wanted to do something that was a constant section, you could come in and use a roof. The roof actually has a roof by extrusion option, and so we'll take a look at that. So first thing I'm going to do is make a reference plane here, right, and I'll name it C1, okay, and I'll go to my elevation that's looking at that C1, and I'll go to my roof by extrusion, and it will ask me what plane do I want to work on, and I'll just go to the pull down and pick my reference plane, and now that's set as my current plane, and it wants to know what I want to set this on. And so if I wanted it on level 2, I could put it on level 2. It doesn't really matter. It's going to go wherever I draw it. And then it goes into sketch mode, and if I wanted to make a ceiling, you know, that was maybe doing something a little bit more swoopy but still in a constant section, I can make a line like that, and let me hit escape a couple of times, and it will put a roof on it. So any roof that I pick, it will put on it. So if I go generic 9-inch and I hit check, I now get this extruded, and I get little pull options, right, where I can pull it bigger or smaller. I can also obviously edit type and duplicate that, so I'll make it a glass 2-inch and click OK. And then if I edit that, I can come in here and change this to glass, right? So bronze, maybe glass matte, right? And click, let's look at the graphics. Let's use render appearance and click OK. And we'll save, we'll do like a 2-inch glass and click OK. Click OK. And now I've got like a 2-inch sort of glass ceiling sitting there. So that's an option as well. And you can see it's pulled it all the way over here. You can pull it back. But it's a constant section, right? It can't be curving in any other direction. All right. So those are two really simple options. This is categorized as a roof, but you can kind of get around that. When I come back, we'll do sort of a component model in place.